Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. Today we've got the next pack of 1966 Batmobile. Now today I think we're mainly concentrating on the interior, so the dashboard, etc. I did notice that we will be placing the floor pan into the chassis and actually secure it in place. Now that will mean that it will inhibit the access to the circuit board. So that's why you've obviously got all the wires trailing out the back, etc. and out the sides. Obviously, if you are waiting for the much anticipated bat circuit, you might want to skip this just until you get it. I know it's for imminent release, and Mike's working very, very hard to try and get them all set for coming out the door, and I'm sure it will happen very, very soon. But obviously, I'm going to show you guys how it all goes together anyway as a stock item. But yes, if you are waiting for that much anticipated bat circuit, then you might want to hold off on these. And if you don't know what the bat circuit is, where have you been? There'll be a video up here showing my reaction to Mike's video teaser, which looked absolutely amazing. And there'll also be links in the description below. So check those out as well. And you can go along to Mike's website and see what other awesome mods he does. And obviously, if this is still available, then there'll also be links to the fanhome website as well, where you can get this from for yourself. As I say, don't know if it's still available or not, but I believe it is at the moment. So do check all those links out as well. But for now, let's get into it. Let's get building.
Welcome to the workshop, tools in the light. Screws and glue, they're holding it tight. Piece by piece, it's a builder's delight. Making dreams in the still of the night. Let's get into it, let's get building now. Put it all together, I'll show you how. Screw by screw and a little glue too. Welcome to the workshop, it's waiting for you.
Right, so we're going to kick off this pack with issue 81. And this is the magazine. Now, every issue does come with a magazine and gives you all the instructions. I say that, I'm not sure the US, whether you just get digital copies of these. Obviously, I'm in the UK and get these fantastic magazines, complete with all the build instructions, and you do get one with every stage. It looks like this time we're going to be building the detector scope. It looks like we've got an LED to go in, and we're just taking that from the chassis there. And it looks like we are actually putting the floor in. So we're doing that like right from the beginning. So we end up with that at the end of it. Right, so here it is for the moment. This is its current configuration. Now I've obviously just laid bits on in here at the moment, including my own little Heath Robinson power mod. We've got the excellent bat beacon from Mike. Now, from the outside, it doesn't look any different, which is obviously a brilliant thing for Mike, to be able to just fit electronics and new parts in to already existing hardware. Absolutely fantastic job. Also got the interior carpet, and we've also got the trunk carpet as well, looking also fantastic. Now we will need to take this out, and we also need the dashboard. Now obviously the floor pan we'll do in a little bit when we come to the end of this issue, but right now we need this piece. Right, so here we have the parts to our detector scope. We've got a few bits on sprues. We have this panel here, and we have a couple of other parts, obviously, that will accept the LED, etc. First piece we're going to need is this and this. Now it does have two cutouts, as you can see, to allow for the screw holes there. Now I guess it's probably personal preference which way you actually have that arrow pointing. There's probably absolutely no reason to have it pointing any different direction at all. There's nothing on the instructions to show which way it should be pointing, but obviously it's going to be one way or the other. It's going to be pointing to whatever they were detecting, I guess. I'm going to have it facing that way, which is going to be forward of the car. That's then going to sit in like so. And then we've got 2 KP screws to secure that from the back. So just one in there. And then the second one just going in here. Again, just holding the front bezel to make sure that goes in nicely. And then we have something that looks like that. Next, we need this piece, and we're going to secure this in from the back. And it's just going to go over that lug that you see there. I'm going to secure that with an AP screw. And so just get that AP screw in there. Like so. You'll see that's going to hold our LED. Right, now we've also got all these holes on the side here. And we basically have all of these components put in. Now, from the looks of it, we have 2 81E, which are going to be these 2 silver pieces, which are going to go into this hole and this hole. We have 81G, which is this switch, and that's going to go into the center hole here. And then we have 4 81Fs, which are going to go into the other 4 holes down the side here. And then we have this piece, which says detector scope, and that's going to go right at the front here. So I'm going to start off with that one for the moment, because it's not on a sprue or anything. Also, make sure you put it in the correct way up. So we've got that going in there. Now, that wasn't pushing in very well for me. The hole seemed a bit tight, so I just grabbed my round file and I just basically opened up the hole very, very slightly, just from the back there. So we've got that in there. And now we need to do the other switches, etc. Now, depending on how loose or tight these are, will depend on whether they need a bit of glue. So that seems to hold itself in quite well. Now, I don't know if you can see this on camera. The lugs are slightly angled. And obviously that's to allow the button to sit flat when you're putting this in. That's 2. And the third one on there is going to be the switch. And again, it's got an angled lug. Just going to use the tweezers just to push that one down properly. Obviously, if you push down on the top of there, you're likely to break that switch off. Right, so that's the last of those buttons going in down the side there. And then that just leaves these 2 silver ones. And same principle, that they've got this angled lug. So get that one pushed all the way in. Again, just going to use the tweezers just to get that pushed down properly. So that is now our detector scope, looking just like that. Right, and now from our massive cables, we are going to need cable M, and that's just going to pop in here. I do believe, obviously not counting the bat beacon, etc., that's our first LED in. Just try and work out which direction they potentially want the cable to come out of. looks like it's coming this way for the moment, but we'll potentially see what it's like when it comes to putting it into the dashboard, which is what we're going to be doing now. Obviously that's going to go through that hole, making sure it's the correct way up, line up the two lugs like so, and then we're going to be securing that with two AP screws, and that's the second one going in like that. So we now have our detector scope. Get my fingerprints off the front of that. That's what it's looking like. We're going to leave this to one side now, and we're actually going to bring over the chassis and the floor pan. Now, as we're going to be putting the floor pan in, if you're not doing the bat circuit, it's probably worth going back to stage 59 and just having a look at this diagram. Don't know about you, but all my tape basically seems to have disintegrated or just not held the cables in place, as you can see. So it's worth going back to this and just make sure that all your wires are going in the right directions.
A few moments later.
Right, so I've got all the wires tidied and pointing in the right directions. If your tape has all come undone, as I say, look at issue 59 and that will show you exactly where the cables need to go. Not forgetting about the beacon light there as well. Now, mine's slightly different because I do have the Mike Lane bat beacon, so I've just put that out this way anyway with the little breakout board. And that's my simple power mod there. So I'm just going to leave all of those out of the way for the moment. And then it's going to be a case of bring in the floor pan. Now, looks absolutely fantastic with the Mike Lane carpets. Again, check out the description below and get your own if you have not already done so. So it looks like this is going to sit onto these four lugs here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I just flip it over, you can see we've got the corresponding lugs just there. So primary thing to do is make sure you don't have any wires covering those. Now, I'm not too worried about the battery box at the moment because obviously, as I said, I've got my own power supply. So I don't need to worry about that. We've got K coming out here. We've got these cables coming out here. We've got that one coming out there. And you can see, even though I've just retaped this, this is still coming apart. It seems to be quite rubbish tape, if I'm honest. But make sure all your wires are stuck down, out of the way, and then we'll get the floor pan in place. So just ensuring it is sat over those lugs, which it is. We're now going to secure that in place from the underside using the EP screws. Now, I think the easy option to do this is probably just going to be to tip it up on its side like this, whilst holding the floor pan in place, and then just secure it from underneath with the 4 screws. Right, so let's start off with this top one up here. So just holding the floor pan down in place. And we get that one in as well. Now, see, you could tip this up on its roof and secure it from underneath, but I think this is probably going to be the easier option. Just have it tipped on its side. You're not likely to break anything then. Right, so just got the last one going in there. Again, just holding the floor pan in from the top, just to give it some resistance, so we can get that screwed in. And now we drop it back onto its wheels, and that is our floor pan secured in place. And that is all there's to do in that stage. Right, So move on to issue 82. Now I've obviously rolled the car out the way just for a minute, but it will be coming back very, very shortly. Now we have the left switch box. So lots more things to push in. Then we're going to be adding that to the dashboard. Looks like we've got another LED to add to the dashboard. I think that's for the compass. We've got another bit of boxing to go in. And then we're actually adding the dashboard to the cockpit. I'm actually connecting these wires up as well. Right, so the very first bit we're going to be needing is this piece. And again, we've got some switches on sprues. Now we've got this one with 8. And 4 of these 8 are going to go into the 4 holes that are close together just here. Again, this is just going to be a push fit. Again, this is a very tight push fit, so you might want to use a pair of tweezers just to help you push those in, like so. So that's 4 of those in, like so. We have 82D, and I'm not 100% sure which one of those are. I think that's these ones with the red button. And that is going to go right next to it, like so. And then we need this piece, and then we need 82F, which I believe is this black piece we have in this little separate bag. And that's just going to push into the center of here. Tweezers is definitely going to be your friend on this issue. Right, so we've got that in like so. And then this is going to mount underneath here. And again, it's just a push fit, but it's going to go into that first hole there, like so. And I'll leave that to one side for a moment and then concentrate on this piece. And the other 82C, so the 4 of those, are going to go into the first 4 holes there. And then the other D, which was that red button, is going to go in the end there. If you do find it a bit of a struggle to get these in, what I would suggest is just get a round file. In fact, what I do, I'll show you on this one. Just get a round file and just open it up very slightly from the back, like so. And probably still using your tweezers, you can get that to go in. Now, if you find that you've opened it up too far, obviously all you can do is put a little dab of super glue on the back there. But as you can see, none of those are falling out. That's all fine there. Just going to grab this red button, and that one's just going to push in the end there, like so. Now the red button doesn't push all the way in, as you can see. It's just got a bit of a collar, so make sure that collar does sit flat against the surface of this. And with that done, we're going to turn our attention to the dashboard. So taking this piece that we just created, that's just going to sit just over there. And we're going to secure that with 2 AP screws. And then the other piece that we created, this is going to sit this way around and over those 2 holes with the AP screws as well. So that's those ones in. Just do the exact same thing for this one. And that's that one screwed in like that. So that's what our dash is looking like on the lower part there. Now we do have these 2 switches. And they're just going to push into the holes we have here. Again, tweezers are definitely going to be your friend trying to get that in. And with those in, we now have these covers. And they're simply just going to sit over like so. Now those ones don't actually click in like we have the other ones, and that's also so you can actually remove them quite easily and show obviously what's behind those parts. But that is what our dash is looking like. And we're now going to install this in the car. One thing I have realised I've forgotten, I haven't put in that other LED yet. And for that one, we need the one that comes from K. So taking that one that comes from K, we're just going to push it in the bottom there. Like so. So this is going to sit over there and over there. And lining up the side panels as well. Like so. And I'm going to secure the sides of this with 2 AP screws. And considering we've only got AP screws in, I'm guessing the next instruction will be putting AP screws in the front there. But for now, do the side panels. One. And we're going through this silver part. So that's 2. And we've actually not been asked to put any screws in this one at the moment, but we have been asked to wire the cables together. So I'm just going to get K. So we've got K plugged together. Now it does show the wires going out through this little center notch. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then we have the M cable, I think it was. Yep, M cable. And that's just going to plug in there. And again, just going to run it through that center notch, like so. And that is all to do in that stage. Right, so we move on to issue 83. Now, I don't think we need the car for any more of today's issues. Now we have the steering wheel, looking just like that. Right, so we have our steering wheel, and this is actually metal, looking just like that. We have these little control buttons that we're going to be putting in. Now, just try to work out which might be which, because we do have a left and a right, apparently. But right now, they look like mirror images of each other. Well, not even mirror images, actually, they look identical. So it looks like they've come out of the sprue this way. So my immediate thought is to try and hide that. So I'm going to put them in this way around. And they're just going to push into the holes in the bottom of the steering wheel, or top of the steering wheel. I'm not really sure which way up this is. I'm assuming that it's bottom of the steering wheel. So we've got that one in there. And this one is going in here. So that's what those are looking like. Put that to one side for a second. We now need our steering shaft. And again, this is metal. We're going to need our universal joint, and we need some SM screws. Now that universal joint's just going to sit in like so. Now this is going into metal, so just using a little bit of oil. So one there, and this one's just going in here like this. Right, so we've got that in place like so. Now I haven't done that too tight, but obviously that is a universal joint, so I do want it to have some movement, as you can see. I'm going to take the other end of this, and we're going to place it in the steering wheel like so. Now it does have a D-shaped hole, so we're just going to place that in there, and then we're going to use a BM screw to secure that from the center there. I'm going to use my PH1 screwdriver for this one, I think. And that is our steering wheel and shaft like so. Next we're going to take this piece and this black piece. This one's going to go in the bottom just there. And again, it's just got a couple of lugs that it needs to line up. And then once you've got those lugs lined up, you can push it all the way in. And with that one pushed all the way in, we then take this piece here. Now this one actually goes in from the back. So we have it looking like that. Now we have this clear piece. Now I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up or not, but there is actually a speedometer on there. If I just hold it in front of something black. Now that speedometer needs to line up with the black part we have in there. And obviously you want to make sure that you have it the correct way around, so that the numbers are the right way up and the right way around. Now, if like me, you've put your fingerprints all over it, just grab a microfiber cloth, give it a quick buff, certainly for the inside. And then again, with the numbers at the bottom, I'm just going to push that into place. I'm just using my thumb just to twist it around a little bit until I'm happy with the position of that. Now, that doesn't look too bad to me. Now, the way I'm looking at this is obviously not straight on. I am holding it at a bit of an angle, like you were looking down on it for the steering wheel. Show you on the top camera, possibly. So, looking down on it, you can see that everything sort of lines up. So now I put my big thumbprint on it. Give that a quick clean again. So definitely happy with that position. Just going to take our steering wheel, and then we've got two lugs on the back here, and that's just going to push in like that. Now that is incredibly loose, as you can see. So I might just put a little tiny bit of super glue on the back of that, just to hold that in place. And it's just going to be on the lugs, so I'm just going to do that. And that is our steering wheel complete. So as I say, just put a bit of super glue on the back of that, and that's holding it in place nicely. And that's all there's to do in that stage. Right, so these last three issues I am going to bolt together. because we're just going to work on the bulkhead. Pun not intended there, but that's what we're working on. So we do get the bulkhead, and we're not even attaching anything to the bulkhead on that one. We're just assembling part of it. And then in 85, we have battery and starter motor parts, and just going to assemble that onto the bulkhead. And then in 86, we have the power steering pump for the Batmobile. And again, that's just going to fit onto the bulkhead as well. So here's our bulkhead. It is plastic apart, but not doing anything in this particular stage. What we do need is this piece and this piece. And you'll see there's a D-shaped peg and a D-shaped hole in this piece. We're just going to push those together, like so. And then having it this way up, we have this cable, and we're just going to push it on to the end of there, like so. And that's all there's to do in that stage. Right, so we now have issue 85, and we're just going to take our battery and assemble it like so. I'm going to secure that with 2 TP screws on the bottom. So that's that installed like that. Then I'm going to take these 2 silver terminals. Now they do have a D-shaped pattern, and from the looks of it, it means you can only put them on in the right way. So we've got this one, it's going to go in here. And that's pointing out this way. And then this one, the D-shaped hole, means it's going to point off in that direction. We then have these little yellow terminals, or probably not terminals, but little caps, I guess. And they're just going to be pushed in to the other holes on the top of the battery here. So we have all of those in there like that, and that's how our battery is looking. Now I'm going to bring over our firewall, or bulkhead, and that's just going to sit in like so. And again, we're going to use some TP screws to hold that in place. So that is looking just like that. We're now going to start building the starter motor. So we need this piece, and we also need this piece here. Now this has got a D-shaped hole, and D-shaped plug. So I'm just going to push that together like so. You'll see that's the fuse box from issue 84. I'm then going to take this piece. I'm going to put this cable on the end here, like so. And we're going to put this cap in the end here, like so. This is then going to attach on here. We've got 2 lugs and 2 points it can go into. That's just going to sit in like so. This is then going to attach to the bulkhead, and it's going to go this way around and into those 2 holes you see there. And again, 2 TP screws will hold that in place from the back. So we've got that secured like so. Then we actually need to connect these cables, or this cable from the fuse box, to that terminal there on the battery. So with that in place, I'm just going to tuck that cable a little bit out of the way, and we have this one that's floating spare at the moment. And that is all to do in that stage. So now we have the final parts of this build pack, and we are continuing with the bulkhead. We have some cable, some more cable, and some more cable. I'm going to start off with this piece. We have this piece here, and again, D-shaped hole, D-shaped plug. We're going to push that together. Like so. We have this black piece, and again, D-shaped hole, D-shaped plug. And that's going to sit on there like so. We're going to take the shortest piece of pipe that we've been given, and that's going to go on to there like so. We're going to take the medium length of pipe, and that one's going to go on to there, like that. And then we're going to take this, and we're going to attach it to the bulkhead. That's going to attach just here. Now there's a bit of a keyhole pattern. We've got a little keyway there that's going to slot into that section there. So that goes into that, and we're going to use an AP screw to secure that from the back. And then we have these two parts, and these are the radiators of the firewall. Alright, so they're both identical, so they're going to sit like that with those 2 points facing upwards. Going to secure it from the back with some AP screws. Right, that's the last screw just going in there. And now we need to fit our last bit of hose. Now, they've obviously given us, certain lengths for those. This one they want us to cut. We're going to need 100 millimeters, 70 millimeters, 75 millimeters, and 95 millimeters. So let's start off with the 100. Now that should be 10 of these squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So just there. And this one is going to go onto the end here, like so. The next one we need is 70. So it's going to need to be 7 of these. And that one pops on there, like so. Then we need 75 and 95. So 75 is going to be about there. Now, does that leave us 95, or does that leave us a little bit longer than 95? That leaves us a bit longer than 95. 95 is going to be about there. So 95 is going to go on to the end here. And the 75 is going to go on the end there. So we now have all those pipes in place, like so. And that is all to do in that stage, and all there is to do in that build pack. thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to hit the like button below and give us a massive thumbs up. So we have made quite a bit of progress on this today. Just having that floor pan now secured in place, we've now got the dashboard in place, and as you can see, it's also lit up as well. So I've plugged it in just to make sure those two LEDs that we've put in the dash there are still working fine, which they are. And it does look really, really good lit up. I've also put the firewall in place just loosely. It does mean that I now know why we haven't put the two screws at the front there. Basically, it looks like it's going to secure the firewall in place on a future issue. So we'll secure that and the front of the dashboard down in one go. Also put the steering wheel in there, just because it looks really, really nice with the steering wheel in there. It's only just slotted in loosely in place at the moment, not fixed or anything. And obviously I've put the bat beacon on top because why not? This bat beacon looks absolutely fantastic. If you want to get one for yourself, do check out Mike Lane's website. Again, description for the links, etc. Now, this obviously showing you at the minute, it does work absolutely perfectly with the stock main board. So if you don't necessarily plan on getting the bat circuit, at the very least, get yourself a bat beacon because it does look absolutely fantastic. At the moment, it's going through like a demo mode, so it'll go through all the different lights flashing, etc. And that's normally how it's left. You'll probably see it flashing away on the shelf up here in pretty much every video that I do, because I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So do check out the links below. As I said, Mike does absolutely awesome job. And so far on this, we've obviously got the bat beacon, we have the floor mats, we have the carpet, we have the trunk carpet, and it's everything just adds that little bit extra to the model. And I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So as I say, check out the links below. Also, in the description, you'll find links to the fanhome website where you can potentially get this for yourself if it's still available. If you want to see how this one progresses or anything else that goes on in the workshop, please do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell for notifications. That way you won't miss out on future videos. Until next time, I'll see you around. Cheers.